at least it will definitely and obviously manage to stay at the top of the table, and that is the Group C table. But also Uganda has 6 points while South Africa has 5 points. Now, the great analysis for today's game will be at Wegerere Fund Zone at Kings Park Arena, and guest analysts will be Mujib Kasule, Majida Nantanda, and Jackson Mayanja Mia. That was a weekend. It looks like officially football has taken over our weekends, as always the seasons are. But also this weekend had the Trump-Putin summit. Now that summit was rather confusing, if you ask me. It was at Alaska on the 15th of August 2025, and it's one which ended up having press less present, you know, there was no press to ask the necessary questions, and it's one that had the Russian president just promising that perhaps the next summit he would host Trump at Moscow, and Trump's comments and jokes about that were also one interesting thing to look at. But following this conversation also got me a chance to dig into a bit of history. And do you know that the significance of the Trump-Putin summit in Alaska on the particular date, 15th August, was because, one, Alaska was part of Russian Empire until 1867, when Russia sold it to the USA for about $7.2 million. And the other significance is the fact that Japan surrendered to USA on the 15th of August 1945, which ended World War. Now that is a bit of history that I got to learn about as I followed up on this conversation. But you are welcome. Welcome again to yet another week, a week that has its own news to make. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, and with me is Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Together, we come to you live from Nile Avenue on UBC TV. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, Julie, and of course, everyone. Thank you so much for waking up with us. While so much made headlines, and like I already told you last week, that I was very excited concerning the Trump and Putin visit. Unfortunately, not so much was achieved in that.
Right.
Not so much was achieved. We didn't get an end or cease or anything actually. But I want to say the meeting took place, and of course the body language, which I was very excited, and I kept monitoring. One thing I noticed is Putin is a great president.
You know, analysts say that for this summit, it's Putin that won.
That's what I wanted to tell you.
Yes.
The only thing I didn't understand is why they both had to board the beast. Because I was watching, I think it was the BBC, when they said there was a special car for Putin.
Right.
Now, at that particular moment, when the two move in the same vehicle, then also the tension as Putin was coming down, there was a time I saw Trump saluting, and I was wondering who was he saluting. They're both heading the same direction. Putin is well composed, moving. So I want to say,
and Trump's excitement,
and
clapping
Trump's
for
excitement,
Putin as he got
you know,
off the plane.
clapping and all that. I want to believe Putin took the day.
He did.
And much as Trump has sorted a couple of presidents, Africa and elsewhere, and he's been on top of the game, this time Putin showed that I'm in control. Of course, he later went and laid a wreath on Soviet Union soldiers.
Yes, yes.
That was also another recognition that yes, we have men that fought this side and were laid to rest this side. But by and large, we keep on waiting to see, because the greatest thing is the war in Ukraine coming to an end.
Does that mean that from what transpired, Russia is the great?
No, no doubt.
From that body language, from what you know, we're always saying the United States is the great nation. You know, it's the nation of nations. It leads. It's, you know, the great one. But from what we saw, it's as if the statement was Russia is the great one and not the United States.
If we were to rate their performance of the presidents,
right,
and what transpired, the press being very limited and all that, we would say Russia took that day. Now, coming back to our match today, it's very sad that many Ugandans who would have wanted to watch the match will only watch it on TV, UBC TV, because I think I woke up on Friday. By Saturday, people were talking about tickets and they were sold out. So that means quite a number of people who may have wanted to watch the game may not. I'm not a sports expert. Maybe Ruben will tell us if there is any way else But as of yesterday, people were looking for tickets, Saturday, people looking for tickets, and when you went on the portal, you'd only see the word sold out.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what people are going to do. But the good thing is, UBC will have the match. So you'll be able to watch the match, even if you don't go to Nambole. But the sports team will tell us more. Maybe there is any other way out. But as of the efforts we tried, it was very hard to come by a ticket. Now, coming also back home, so much happened. But there is a story that caught my eye, where child rights advocates are calling for government, the judiciary, to expedite defilement cases. They're saying one of the cases that are slowing down in our country are defilement cases. Julie, a young girl, is defiled at the age of, say, 15, and by the age she's 25, the case has never been dealt with.
Right.
Now, the witnesses are not there. She gets married. She moves on with life. She no longer wants to awaken the past.
Does she ever move on, though?
Well, that's what they're saying. Like because she was defiled very young.
Yeah.
Now she has things are, the court is, the process, the technicalities. This girl is growing, you know. She goes to school, she studies, she completes, she gets married. Now you're telling her that your case, you're wanted in court. This is now maybe a mother, someone's wife, and she doesn't want to bring back that defilement history and all that. So they are saying we need to expedite these cases if we are to see justice. Why is it that they are the most delayed cases? But also remember, in our laws, if you're convicted of defilement, it is life imprisonment. If it's aggravated, it is a death sentence. So also that may explain why people do all it takes to take these cases to prolong them and technically avoid justice.
Right, sad indeed. I hope justice eventually comes out of this, you know. I hope we get to see action, because a lot of damage happens along the way, especially for the victim, for this young girl, you know. It never settles, and a lot of emotional baggage is carried into her life until perhaps she goes back to her creator. Let's have a look at what we have on the local scene. Well,
we begin with President Yoweri Museveni in Lango region. Now, tempers flared in Nira as President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni met with the leaders from the Lango sub-region to address the long-standing grievances of cattle compensation. The meeting, held at Lango College, saw leaders decrying rampant corruption by middlemen and lawyers who allegedly extort money from vulnerable claimants. In response, the president tasked the leaders to form a committee to revise the compensation mechanism, hinting at a possibility of adopting a flat rate model recently embraced in the Teso sub-region. Leaders from across the sub-region met President Museveni over what they called a broken and exploitative cattle compensation process. Speaker after speaker accused middlemen and unscrupulous lawyers of extorting money from vulnerable claimants, many of whom are elderly and illiterate. Not even an earlier report from the Deputy Attorney General detailing the progress of the compensation process was convincing enough. In response, President Museveni acknowledged the concerns and directed the leaders to form a regional committee to revise the compensation mechanism. This could lead to adoption of a flat rate model as recently adopted in Teso sub-region. Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja praised President Yoweri Museveni for empowering women in Uganda. She made the remarks during Holy Mass at Lubaga Cathedral in Kampala. More than 200 parishioners joined the service as Nabbanja highlighted the role of women in Uganda's rise to a middle-income nation. Nabbanja also reassured residents that the NRM government remains committed to maintaining good roads across Kampala and beyond. The Prime Minister praised Archbishop Paul Semogerere for leading Mass in Kakumiro during the Thanksgiving ceremony with President Museveni. Meanwhile, Lubaga Cathedral is set to celebrate 100 years this October, announced by Reverend Father John Mary Warugembe. Coming to the end of our local stories this morning, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has commended women judges for the professionalism and transparency in their line of duty. The message was delivered by the Chief Justice Alfonso Owinyo-Dolo, where Speaker Amongi reaffirmed Parliament's commitment in supporting the judiciary in delivering justice. This was during the International Association of Women Judges annual dinner at Munyonyo. Women judges held an annual dinner with a call to prioritize delivering justice to people fairly. The Speaker of Parliament, Annette Anita Among, who was represented by the Chief Justice Alfonso Owinyo-Dolo, commended women judges for upholding professionalism and transparency. The Speaker appealed to the appointing authority to think of appointing female judges in higher positions in the judiciary, including the position of Chief Justice. The Speaker also reaffirmed Parliament's commitment towards the judiciary to ensure the extension of justice to the public. The President of the International Association of Women Judges, Elizabeth Jane Elviza, highlighted the achievements of female judges. At the same event, some judges, justices, and the Permanent Secretary of the Judiciary, Dr. Pius Bigirimana, were awarded prizes for exemplary service. Women judges also launched the construction of the International Association of Women Judges UC School to keep vulnerable children in school. Now, Julie, take us through what the rest of the world has for us.
Well, indeed, we are starting off, of course, with the obvious, the Trump-Putin summit. That has, if you ask me, from my perspective, without being, you know, a journalist and all of that, it looks like this is a whole bullying system. But as is, Donald Trump has said the Ukrainian president can end Russian war if he wants to. But there would be no going into NATO by Ukraine as part of a peace deal. Hours before he was due to host Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Trump also said there would be no getting back of the Crimean Peninsula, which Moscow illegally annexed in 2014, 8 years before launching its full-scale invasion. It follows Trump's summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Alaska that resulted in the U.S. president dropping a demand for a ceasefire and calling instead for a permanent peace deal. A U.S. envoy said on Saturday that Putin had agreed to a possible NATO-like security pact for Ukraine. The Russian president has consistently opposed the idea of Ukraine joining the military alliance. Posting on his Truth platform on Saturday night, Trump said President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started? No getting back Obama, given Crimea 12 years ago without a shot being fired, and no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change, Trump added. Wow. Anyways, moving on, hundreds of thousands of people have gathered in Israel to call for an end to the Gaza war and a deal to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas. The largest crowd was seen in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square on Sunday, with the organizers saying that the government's plans to seize control of Gaza City risked the lives of around 20 hostages still being held by Hamas. A one-day national strike, part of a wider protest, closed roads, offices, and universities in some areas. Nearly 40 people were arrested during the day. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized the protests, saying they would harden Hamas's stance and would only slow down the release of the hostages. Far-right Israeli Minister Bezalel Smotrich also denounced the protests, describing them as a harmful campaign that plays into the hands of Hamas. The national strike was demanded by the families of the hostages and others opposed to the expansion of the war. Einav Zankoka, mother of hostage Matan and leading figure in the Hostage and Missing Families Forum, said the group demanded a comprehensive and achievable agreement and an end to the war. Well, looking at what we have on the motherland, a Qatari official said on Saturday that a draft agreement to end fighting between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 has been shared with the government and the rebels. The news comes ahead of an 18th August deadline agreed on last month between Kinshasa and the Rwanda-backed rebel group to reach a peace deal. He said that while the timeline had not been met, both parties have responded positively to the facilitator and expressed a willingness to continue negotiations. The roadmap in the Declaration of the Principles signed on 19th July in Qatar had called for negotiations to begin by the 8th August, with a final deal reached by Monday. Since taking up arms again at the end of 2021, the M23 armed group has seized swaths of land in eastern DRC, with Rwanda's backing triggering a spiraling humanitarian crisis. There was a new surge in fighting earlier this year when the M23 captured the key cities of Goma and Bukavu, setting up their own administrations. The official added that Qatar is currently hosting an important session of negotiations in Doha aimed at following up on the implementation of the declaration and finalizing an agreement, and neither Kinshasa nor the M23 have commented on the latest statements. Well, that marks it for what we have on the global scene. Robert, let's have a look at what we have in the press today.
Well, we have the Vision with us this morning, and a big headline there: aggrieved aspirants petition Museveni. Now, NRM top organ contestants hide delegates. Conflict of interest there. Then government to revamp university halls, says First Lady. And Ham clear to build on Nachivubo channel. Moving on, we have some jobs for you there, but also President Museveni launches Wagagai Gold project. And still moving on in the new vision, looking at 2026 Citizens Manifesto, voters give ways to end corruption. Well, those and more in the new vision. Julie, may you take us through the Daily Nation and the Citizen?
Yes, right. Let's start off with the Citizen, and that is in Tanzania. And the top headline there is Tanzania powers $3 billion regional cement expansion. Also there, what to expect as CCM prepares to endorse candidates for general election. That is right at the bottom. And still at the bottom is how Tanzania plans to take the lead in cancer treatment. Also there is Handeni women torn between firewood and clean energy. Right at the top, from animal legs to testicles. Interesting. Nothing goes to waste in Dar. Wow. Okay. Anyways, interesting stories never cease to exist, and that is one of them. Let's quickly look at what we have at the Daily Nation, and that is in Kenya. Against all odds, Heroes striker Ryan Ogam scored the winning goal in the 75th minute, sending Kasarani into the wild celebrations. And that is a picture there. Harambee Stars star players celebrate their victory over Zambia at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, yesterday. Still in the Daily Nation, we do have varsity fees shocker, and also looking at tough wars, the National Treasury dragged into fight for 60 billion shillings police salary, and matters judiciary, Chief Justice Kome top judges off the hook. Now let's have a look at what we have in the Gazette today, and a table of contents there with the Gazette is on display. But quickly sliding down to the notices, we have the commissioners for oaths advocates at Act Commission notice to all whom these presents may come. Greetings. Be it known that on the 23rd day of July 2025, Abdallah Sechibembe, an advocate of the High Court, has been appointed to be a commissioner for oaths under the above mentioned act for so long as he continues to practice as such advocate and the commission is not revoked, given under the hand of Alphonse Chigamoy Owinyi Dolo, Chief Justice, as of the 23rd day of July 2025. And in there is a place to be recognized as for marriage celebration. The church is St. Luke Bisina Church of Uganda, denomination Anglican, village Bisina Parish, Mukura, sub-county Mukura, and the county is Ngora, district Ngora, given under the hand of Honorable Kahinda Utafire, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, as of the 17th day of January 2022. And another place of worship to be recognized for the celebration of marriage is the St. Philip's Chodong Church of Uganda, Chidongole Parish, denomination Anglican, and the village is Chogong. Parish is Chidongole, sub-county Chidongole, county Bukedea, and the district is Bukedea, given under the hand of Honorable Kahinda Otafire, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, as of the 17th day of January 2025. And that marks it for what we have in the dailies today. For now, allow us have a short break as you enjoy some music from GNL Zamba. Good Blessings is the name of the song. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Income Nation. Nabanja also reassured residents that the NRM government remains committed to maintaining good roads across Kampala and beyond. The Prime Minister praised Archbishop Paul Semogerere for leading Mass in Kakumiro during the Thanksgiving ceremony with President Museveni. Meanwhile, Lubaga Cathedral is set to celebrate 100 years this October, announced by Reverend Father John Mary Warugembe. Coming to the end of our local stories this morning, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has commended women judges for the professionalism and transparency in their line of duty. The message was delivered by the Chief Justice Alfonso Owinyi Dolo, where Speaker Among reaffirmed Parliament's commitment in supporting the judiciary in delivering justice. This was during the International Association of Women Judges annual dinner at Munyonyo. Women judges held an annual dinner with a call to prioritize delivering justice to people fairly. The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, who was represented by the Chief Justice Alfonso Owinyi Dolo, commended women judges for upholding professionalism and transparency. The Speaker appealed to the appointing authority to think of appointing female judges in higher positions in the judiciary, including the position of Chief Justice. The Speaker also reaffirmed Parliament's commitment towards the judiciary to ensure the extension of justice to the public. The President of the International Association of Women Judges, Elizabeth Jane Elviza, highlighted the achievements of female judges. At the same event, some judges, justices, and the Permanent Secretary of the Judiciary, Dr. Pius Bigirimana, were awarded prizes for exemplary service. Women judges also launched the construction of the International Association of Women Judges UC School to keep vulnerable children in school. Now, Julie, take us through what the rest of the world has for us.
Well, indeed, we are starting off, of course, with the obvious, the Trump-Putin summit. That has, if you ask me, from my perspective, without being, a journalist and all of that, it looks like this is a whole bullying system. But as is, Donald Trump has said the Ukrainian president can end Russian war if he wants to. But there would be no going into NATO by Ukraine as part of a peace deal. Hours before he was due to host Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Trump also said there would be no getting back of the Crimean Peninsula, which Moscow illegally annexed in 2014, 8 years before launching its full-scale invasion. It follows Trump's summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Alaska that resulted in the U.S. president dropping a demand for a ceasefire and calling instead for a permanent peace deal. A U.S. envoy said on Saturday that Putin had agreed to a possible NATO-like security pact for Ukraine. The Russian president...
Good Morning Uganda. Pick of the day on UBC.
was brought to you by...
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live, only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.
My friend, I have made some good money today. It is time to relax and enjoy life.
Nice to hear that, Semu. Just give me some money.
Gino, let's go party. All the drinks and the muchomo are on me. I will crown the day with a babe to chill with before I return home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Life is too short.
You guy, you mean you want to take nothing home to your family? My friend, indulging in casual sex has become very risky and dangerous these days. There is HIV and what's still Mpox.
What are you saying, Gino? I use protection, a condom. Don't scare me.
Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease Semu.
What?
Yes, Semu. And from there, you'll spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Gino. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Gino. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information
About Mpox,
call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health
with support from UNICEF, WHO,
and its partners.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV. And if you are just joining us, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda. And if you started the show with us, thank you so much. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, and I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono alongside you as we all discuss pertinent topics that affect all of us as Ugandans. Now, whilst we started the show, we did talk about the fact that child activists, child right activists and groups are calling for faster justice in defilement cases, because many times these cases slug, and along the way this child who has been defiled, say for example, as Robert stated, at the age of 15, is moving on in life, that case is still pending, that case has not been dealt with. And this child is growing, this child goes through school, this child gets married, this child gets children. And along the way, it's when they are called as adults at that, now they're also parents, they are called to attend to a case that happened to them possibly 20 years ago or 10 years, or, you know, for as long as they were still children under the age 18 years at that. And child right activists are really, really calling for the legal systems to make conviction faster and more effective for justice to be brought to book. Now, teenage pregnancies in Uganda, as a result of defilement, we see teenage pregnancies, many of them. Uganda comes second as it faces a high rate of 24% of the girls in Uganda getting pregnant, bringing it to that position of second in Africa. Wow. That is a sad record, if you ask me. Imagine your country being known as the second country with the highest rate of teenage pregnancies. Now, that is what we are looking into. Be a part of the conversation. 0709 602592 is the WhatsApp number. You can only text to so that we share our 2 cents into this. And if you are an expert, if you are in the legal field, if you are a child right activist and you're watching the show and you have a thing or two to contribute, please, you're welcome. 0709 602592. Now, Robert, let's first talk about the problem in itself. Why do you think it's persisting? We are talking and talking, and it's staying and staying.
Well, thank you very much, Julie, and I'm happy that we've brought up this topic, because these are things that we are beginning to normalize as a country. Very unfortunate. Where someone will tell you, "Mwana wagundi yafunye olubuto," you know, and will say, "Wana bwononefu. No, let her give birth, let her go back to school." If it is in this traditional setting, well, he who caused the problem, amuase, you know, let them give you a cow, let them give you cows. Let's sort it. If it's within family, then it is also another issue. Let's keep quiet. It is a shame. Let's do unsafe abortion. So there are quite a number of factors. And very unfortunate is where we would have run to also there are a number of challenges. That is why civil society organizations are coming up and saying, let's expedite this process. Now, what is defilement? According to our laws, any young girl below the age of 18, you cannot have sexual intercourse with her. She is believed to be young and cannot consent to that. So if that happens, that is defilement. It's not only for girls, also for the boys.
Right.
But also it's classified into categories. Now we have what we call aggravated defilement and simple defilement. Now let's first understand these things. Briefly, I'll take a little bit of your time. Allow me to do that. Now, defilement can be classified by the law into two different categories. Specific, basing on the age of the child and special circumstances surrounding the person involved. That's how they look at the age, then the circumstances surrounding the person who committed the offense. Simple defilement, the sexual intercourse between an adult and a child above 14 years, which is an offense, whereas the adult is liable to conviction to imprisonment for 18 years. Simple defilement, 18 years if convicted. Now, we go to aggravated defilement.
I wonder why they use the word simple.
Well, because they said
rape can never be simple, how much more defilement?
Can, but definitely. But also sometimes defilement also goes with the rape.
Yes, definitely.
Now we have aggravated defilement. Aggravated defilement is the adult performs a sexual intercourse with a very young child between days old to 14 years. Days old to 14 years, that is aggravated defilement. All the special circumstances are prevalent, say, where the offender or adult is HIV positive, where the offender is a blood relative of the victim or is an authority over the child, where the offender is a person with authority over the victim, say a teacher, where the victim, where the victim, that is a child, is a person with a disability, a physical disability, deaf, speech impairment, disability, mental health, and some conditions there. And finally, where the offender is a serial offender, has committed the offense more than one time. Now, this one is very clear. Maximum sentence is death. Now, over a time, I've come to understand that whenever we have tough laws in this country
right,
to fight a crime, we make it very hard to prosecute people and seek justice.
No, how so?
Whenever the laws in this country, say when you amend traffic guidelines and make them tougher, when you come up that for defilement in Uganda, if it's aggravated like we have seen, maximum sentence is life imprisonment or death. Or if it is a simple defilement, 18 years sentence. Now, when this offense is committed, the people who have committed the offense know very well what they are going to face. So what happens is they inject in so much. I want to tell you, if you go to police and you're reporting, some police stations, not all, a defilement case, the officers in charge are very excited to follow that file. Do you know why? It has a lot of money on it. Because they know that even the victim now already know, I mean the suspect now already knows what is going to befall them.
Right.
So when they tell them, now kati mukuru, you know when they have brought the suspect. They have brought him and cuffed and all that. Then in the office, what did you do? How did you commit such offense? You're useless men. And all that. Then they tell the people, now, you know this is a very big offense. If you go to court, you can, there is hanging, there is life imprisonment, it is not triable by this court. They threaten this person. Then they'll tell them, now what you can do, speak to the parents of this child. Don't you have what to sell? Now there's, okay, the police officer handling this, I've seen these things happen.
Right.
I'm a local leader. And I want to tell you there is one case I followed where the stepfather raped the daughter until he reached a point and said, we have our families, we have our children. But you would see the confusion at police. Because this person knew it is a matter of life imprisonment, or even who never knows, maybe I would be the first after so many years to face the gallows. Now, our laws are good, but implementation is failing. That is
and
why.
I think from what you're saying, I think what I see is corruption is failing the implementation.
Corruption is failing the implementation. That is number one. That is why less than 10% of the cases reported secure conviction. Now, two, poverty. You see, poverty is a very bad thing. That is why when I see people messing around with the president's initiatives to alleviate poverty, I feel like reaching to His Excellency and telling him, sir, don't spare anybody. Let these people go to the gallows. Let me tell you, being poor is a bad thing.
It is.
Because even you reach to sacrifice your own children because you don't have. Now, unfortunately, a number of defilement cases may occur in poor families. Now, Julie, look at this father. And you know the poor give birth. I'm sorry, don't take me, but these are facts I've noticed over time as a journalist. When you look at average rich families, they have very few children. Go to the poor. One man can be a bull of the village. You find a young man by the age he's 30. He tells you, I have 12 children, have 14 children.
Right.
Now, each of these children, the mothers are struggling, he's struggling. Now he hears that one was defiled when she had gone to fetch water. They even pick him maybe from a drinking joint or playing, you know, this in the urban centers. There's where they play funny games, a lot of games. Now he's picked there, he comes very upset, very annoyed. He meets the other family at police, they want. Then he's told, this one has nothing, but he's going to give you part of his land. Now, hey, we make an agreement here because we can't say. The police says, no, we don't do such agreements here. Go. Mugene mutese byamwe mukomeo tuweche mukanyizaako. That no sense. Now, this man, what comes to his mind first is ngenda funa border.
Right.
I'm going to get a border. I start working. The woman, remember most of these mothers, the illiterate, they have no say in their families. The man is polygamous. He's just there like there. Now, the mothers don't have much they can say. When the father comes back, he begins blaming the mother. You failed to look after your children. Now how do they defile your child? You woman and all that. The woman already is cornered that she has no say. The local councils are saying, so and so's son, your family, Now the father gets a border. Because of poverty, he's seeing a blessing in disguise, forgetting the pain of this young girl. Now, poverty is another issue.
Right.
Three, because we've looked at corruption, poverty. Three are culture and traditions. That most of the people who are defiled, these young girls, sometimes are defiled by people they know. Family members, guardians, stepfathers. Remember there was once a case, I don't know where it ended, of a certain Haji who made so much, and then a certain woman, Hajati, who was saying that this man had defiled the stepdaughter.
Right.
Now, most of the times when such issues happen, a visiting uncle, neighbor, culture-wise, one, it is a curse. It's an abomination. More worse if even the child was impregnated. So, the families have to keep quiet. Keep quiet. That's why you ask so many mothers to say, some mothers are suffering, to explain to their children who their fathers are. Maybe it was a defilement case of a relative. The family agreed, the few that knew of it kept quiet. They asked on the village, but ani yafunisa omwana wagundi olubuto ate kwogera kagaana okwogera.
And if you talk about culture, I think there are spaces where culture even allows.
Now, I was first looking at the criminal element, where I leave alone the other extreme culture, but for the shame, it is a curse, it is an abomination, you have to keep quiet. Now, away from that, we even have cultures that believe when a girl sees her first period, she's mature. She has matured. She's able to give birth. She's 16. We have many who will tell you, I got married. We have many, your mothers, ask them at what age they got married. She'll tell you, I got married to your father at 15 years. 14. I gave birth to you at 16 years. The daughter and the mother almost looking alike. And they're happy. So over a time, then also religion. Have some faith that believe when a girl sees her first period, she's okay. She's mature. That if the Lord has made it possible in their thinking that now she's ready, what makes you prevent her? Forgetting that even as cattle breeders, that first heat will make the cow skip. The second still skip for better calf. Because the cow is still young. And all animals, people, even in the animals, with civilization and clear mindset and reading and research, they skip until they are ready. 2 or 3 heat seasons, you skip if you want something better. So, the culture, the religion, another problem. So, we have corruption, we have poverty, we have culture, and we cannot move on without talking about religion. Right. But also over a time, one of the things I've realized that there's so much that is abnormal in our country that we've turned normal because it has happened over time and we've become complacent. Let me tell you, Judy, there are things in this country that we Ugandans, we've allowed to be. Like I told you, it is very funny in this country when someone is arrested.
Right.
And a friend calls you and tells you, Robert, how are you? I'm fine. Are you aware so-and-so has been arrested? So which police? Kabalagala. Which crime? Gwe soko ofune akasente tugende ku police. I mean, even before you know the offense, someone is telling you first get some money. Ero chimanyi baagala sente. And we've normalized, no one says, why should we? Right. And if you're in a group, of late many groupings have WhatsApp groups. And someone says, our colleague has been arrested over this, or we've not yet gotten the information, but we need to go to police. And one says, but we are going to police, we need money. And then you say, but why do we need money? You'll be the outcast. Everyone will say, look at this one. Do you want our friend to be in police? Do you want the case to go? Or do you want to rescue him? Now that is an abnormality. To Ugandans will move with money. When I find a traffic officer, I'll bribe. Away from that, today seeing a young girl pregnant, it is we've become complacent, yet these young girls, many of them are dying while giving birth. Yet these young girls, many of them, their future is ruined forever.
Right.
So there is so much.
Indeed, there is so much, and the problem is persisting because it looks like you and us here are actually participating. We are a part of the problem, essentially. Now, getting into a bit of your comments. Good morning, Julie and Robert. It's unfortunate that and worrying that cases of child defilement are escalating. But with our weak laws, culprits always go away with it. The penalty for this crime needs to be revised to mitigate this cause. Secondly, let's select justice that still our laws don't work on established. Secondly, select justice that still our laws don't work on established people, even when guilty. Lastly, the fact that our laws say innocent until proven guilty by courts is also another big mess. This is Cricket Derek Gagamel from Machini. Thank you so much for being on the show. And hello, Julie and Robert. It's me, Isaac Wanzala Aizo in West Nile. In my opinion, I think such cases should be followed by an independent body like RDC's office, even though they are reported to police and handled by police. This is Isaac Wanzala in West Nile. That's an interesting perspective.
Well, I want to buy into what Isaac said.
Yes,
like we've had
I
issues
agree.
regarding corruption. Those not been sorted. The Presidential Anti-Corruption Unit. You know, we have specific units handling. Recently we had the Investors Protection Unit.
Yes.
We need a specific unit that only handles issues of defilement. Now for Cricket Derek, our laws are not weak. Where we have aggravated defilement, where it is death or life imprisonment, where someone, if convicted, they are getting a sentence of 18 years in prison, that is not a weak law. But we lack enforcement.
So they are weak in implementation.
They are just weak in implementation. But also I want to talk about something very brief. Also, Ugandans, we have a culture of not wanting to be witnesses.
Right.
Ugandans don't want to be witnesses. Julie, if you ever, even if your friends were there, even if people were there and they are told you're going to be a witness on this case, I don't know what Ugandans fear. You're just a witness speaking what you saw. I've followed cases in my time as a journalist, and I've seen so many cases failing to kick off because of lack of witnesses. Not because the people were not there. But when you go and approach them, even as the members of the media fraternity, and tell them, sir, in the footage I have, you were there. The girl said you were there. The mother said you were there. Someone tell, I don't go to court. I don't go to police. People are just not willing, forgetting. I love a song by Fide Bongo Lerutaya. Today is me. There's that phrase, tomorrow somebody else.
Right.
That if we do not join hands to fight these crimes, the criminal-minded people will reach to your grandchildren, will reach to your children. You feel, I don't want hatred, I don't want to be seen, I don't want this. But you see, this criminal is out there. Or another person, because this one has gone scot-free, will commit that offense. So courts, we may condemn the courts. We may judge these lawyers. We may judge our judicial system. But you see, we need to prove someone beyond reasonable doubt. Now, where a police officer tells you, Chirabo, I'm following this case, I've not eaten money. You produce these witnesses as a journalist following this file. He says, here I am, the complainant, have called these people. They are not willing. When we reach court level, they are not being seen. What do you want? Have I still eaten money to stop them from coming? Even you as a journalist, you see, you've come to the end of it. You do your best, reach to them, and someone tells you, ebyo sibigenda mu mukulu w'amawulire ani gwe balaba mu ebyo nedda ssebo genda okola ebisitoola ebyo gw'oli ku mulimu nze siri. Even you feel you've hit that dead end.
Right. Now, in the interest of time, what do you think we can do? What can be done?
First, we should have deliberate. I want to use the word deliberate.
Right.
As we prioritize political cases, you know, for a political case, a presidential case. Once it is filed, we have a presidential candidate who failed the elections. We have a timeline. So the judiciary should come up with a timeline within which to resolve a defilement case. That is one. Let's set a timeline. Two, let's set up a specific, well-trained, well-funded unit to handle defilement. Two, you see, let's carry out sensitization. How do we preserve the scene of crime, preserve the evidence? People don't know. A child has been defiled, the mother rushes to clean her up, destroy so we destroy evidence. Now, lastly, let's avoid shielding these criminals. A person who defiles is not worth being a human being. There are so many women out there. Why do you go for a child of 5 years, of 6 years, a child of 12 years, and you're in your normal sense? So that child, that person you're shielding, may turn against your very own and eat your very own. So let's all take this as a grave offense, condemn it. Don't eat that money. Don't eat that money for the sake of Uganda and your very children. If we do it as a country, I believe we can change statistics.
Right, and I think for me what stands out for me the most is sensitization campaigns, especially at grassroots level. What CSOs can do, what the government can do together with these CSOs is going on the ground. You know, these village meetings that we usually LC1 village meetings. I think these are the best platforms to actually have and sensitize citizens on, in case you are faced with a case of defilement, in case your local area is faced with a case like that, what are you supposed to do? What steps are you supposed to take? I think starting from there, trickling down to the top management, which is the legal system, I think that can be a solution. Now, this conversation definitely continues on our Twitter handle, and that is at UBCTV Uganda. For now, let's have a short break as GMU Tourism Express takes us through. We'll be back with business and the agenda. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
My friend, I have made some good money today. It is time to relax and enjoy life.
Nice to hear that, Semu. Just give me some money.
Gino, let's go party. All the drinks and the muchomo are on me. I will crown the day with a babe to chill with before I return home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Life is too short.
You guy, you mean you want to take nothing home to your family? My friend, indulging in casual sex has become very risky and dangerous these days. There is HIV and what's still Mpox.
What are you saying, Gino? I use protection, a condom. Don't scare me, man.
Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease Semu.
What?
Yes, Semu. And from there, you'll spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Gino. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Gino. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information
About Mpox,
call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health
with support from UNICEF, WHO,
and its partners.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. it is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live, only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for choosing UBC. My name is Zakia Lucky and we are on Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. My face is just delighted with a smile because we are getting into the best part, which is food, and we are bringing it to you the culture way. We are still digesting. You've seen us go through all these activities: poetry, pottery, art, and now it's time for culture foods. With us are contestants from Miss Tourism Southwest, and we are getting to drive just to learn about culture in Southwestern Uganda. We are in Kabale. With me is the lady that is going to take us through the entire process, get to understand what we are eating, get to know why it is eaten like that, why do we have to sit like this, why are we using our hands, not forks. And by the way, the southwestern part of this region has, rather the southwestern part of Uganda has a number of meals, but in this particular segment we have what we call empenjere that we're eating, that is maize and beans, and also the pumpkin that is locally known as a mozi or a chozi. So Aisha is going to be helping us understand how these foods are prepared, why are they eaten like this, and as we get to understand how culture is derived in the southwestern part of Uganda. Hello Aisha.
Hello Zakia.
Yes.
So I'm Aisha Nachibuka. Don't be surprised by the name. I'm Mchiga, I'm Uganda at the same time, but I've grown from the west, so that's how I come to be Mchiga mostly. I'm going to take you through the process of making the mpenjere and the chozi. So we first start with the maize. It takes a very long time to get ready, so we start with the maize before adding the beans. When the maize is fine, okay, ready, then we can add the beans. From there, it takes like a day, because now by the time you start preparing the maize, it's almost like 8 hours. Then you add the beans. For the beans, it's really easy. So you see the grains that are in. We added, in Luchiga we call it a churingani. It's called a stinging nettle in English. Then we also added this eshwiga, you know it?
Mm.
That's how we go to make the mixture. But this, the shwiga and the churingani, we add them later on, because I go to add them today in the morning actually. That's when I added them. And the best churingani and eshwiga, you have to let the sauce get done so that it acts like the sauce. And the benefits of a churingani and a shwiga, it helps in the digestion. It has vitamins. Remember, beans are rich in proteins. then maize with carbohydrates. So we have to add something to give us the vitamins. The pumpkins come in more of a small dessert, and the pumpkins help with vision, they help with diabetes, they help with prostate more for men. So we had to add it there. Then the bushera, this meal is always accompanied by bushera. That is our drink as the bachiga. Because the energy we use, of course, we need the sorghum there. So we have the bushera that accompanies the meal. By the way, the pumpkin also helps us not to get hungry very fast with the mixture of the meal. So when you have the meal, it is hard for us to get hungry. So every time we had this meal, after a wonderful meal like this, we would jubilate by dancing. After the meal, we would have some dances around with the families. And mostly, we used to prepare our meal in this kind of pot. We have different pots as the bechiga. So this pot with this kind of shape, that's the pot we used to use for cooking. Then there's another pot in the front, the one that has a very long neck, was used for drinking, and the small one. And then the bushera, mostly this kind of checker was used for drinking also. This one was for the dads at home, the visitors, all these other bigger checkers. We used to use this for drinking bushera in Tuye or Mlamba, but we don't have those here. We have the bushera for the soft-headed ones. Yeah, roughly that's what we used to do.
Interesting. Most of you have been wondering where the Bachiga get all their energy. You just heard from the explanation, right from the foods that they eat. But I'm curious about the seating. Is this how the setup is supposed to look like when they are eating these particular foods?
Yeah, because, you know, by then, we used to sit as a family, mostly the kids. They would put for us on banana fibers or a wooden plate, then get you to sit around. So in that time, you're bonding with your family, you're enjoying the meal. Actually, the meal is more enjoyable when you're using your hands.
You talked about the dance that comes in after the meal.
Exactly.
Is that how every household had probably the meal? Was it in every household? After the meal, then you get to the dancing.
Yeah, we used to have those dancings. Actually, they used to have the dancings after the meal. Remember, there were dancings. After the dance, then the older ones, the elderlies, would sit around the fireplace, tell us stories. But every after the meal, you had to dance to at least appreciate the meal that you've had.
Interesting. When we get to the dance now, the dance was to appreciate the meal.
Exactly.
And this is the same dance that needs energy.
Exactly.
You have acquired the energy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you wouldn't get exhausted or back to hunger after the dancing.
Not really, because you see, when I told you that the pumpkins, they help us not to get hungry very fast. And you see the way the proteins are laid there, the beans, we have carbohydrates, everything is in one meal. So it is really very hard for you to get hungry after the meal.
Interesting. That was it from the foods that you're getting to see on your screen. And by the way, in the southwestern part, we have so many other foods that would interest you. And for you as a traveler or even a tourist visiting this region for your very first time, make it a point to taste the foods in this area. It is the same area that is known to have the sweetest sweet potatoes. Talk about Irish potatoes, and those that are locally known as emondi, ebiribwa. Make it a point to visit that. This was just a sample of how much foods we offer in the southwestern part. I told you this is where I come from, and I can tell you it is the best thing that you can ever envision to try out. And for you wondering why this stands out, yes, there are sweet potatoes and Irish all over the part of the country, but it is very different when it gets to here, and that is why you find our sweet potatoes known as ebisanukire. I'll leave that to you as a homework. Then there's only one way to find out. Come and taste it. Well, we are coming in with the next segment that is still driving us into I Am My Culture. Stick around. We have eaten, you've heard it all, how it's done culturally in the Wachiga. You got to see the foods, and you heard it also that they get to the dance just after eating to celebrate and be happy, bonding, togetherness. And with me is Derek, who is a culture dance choreographer. He's going to take us through this particular dance, which is called a Chizino. So you're going to get to know about it and get to understand why this dance is actually danced with energy, the jumping, why the hands are raised up. How are you, Derek?
I'm alright, madam.
How are Sivirota? Yes, we're happy to have you on the show. So please take us through the Chichiga dance.
Thank you. So as she has said, our traditional dance of Chigezi, the Wachiga, we dance a Chizino. Yeah, that's the name. And we usually emphasize stamping the feet up and down. So nshachimanyisa ngo twamara kurya twahaga turi koresa amani. Yeah. So we jump in levels, high and up. Then we will be lifting our arms kwereka nti tujya abatunje turatungente nitwe. Yes.
Yes, it's a powerful dance. You got to understand that it's danced with a lot of energy. You stamp the feet on the ground and then you jump high. And he also mentioned how you use your hands to show that you have gained the strength, of course, from the foods that have been eaten. You will get to see on the screen, just like what you get to see, the dance is being danced with a lot of energy and happiness, like you had it from previously having eaten the food. So we are still on Good Morning Uganda. Thank you for joining us. And that was it from Southwestern part of Uganda about I Am My Culture with the contestants of Miss Tourism Southwest.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for keeping it UBC TV time for GMU Business. Today, my name is Julie Natabamosisi, and we're starting off with established amid growing China-Uganda bilateral cooperation. Wagagai Mining Uganda Limited is built on a proven gold ore reserve of 30 million tons, located within the Busia Greenstone Belt in eastern Uganda. Operational since 2019, the project is fully integrated, covering the entire value chain: exploration, mining, refining, logistics, and international trade. The company is currently processing up to 5 tons of gold per day, refining it to 99.9% purity, a capability that aligns with President Museveni's long-standing direction against the export of raw materials. President Museveni emphasized the importance of utilizing the finite mineral resources for sustainable development, and also condemned the informal trade of Uganda's minerals. With gold now ranked as Uganda's top foreign exchange earner, generating over $3 billion annually, the Wagagai project is expected to significantly boost national revenue and regional development, particularly in eastern Uganda. Wagagai Gold Mine and Refinery was set up in line with the government's strategic vision to promote value addition and industrialization within the mining sector. So far, $150 million have been invested in developing the facility, with a projected total investment of $250 million on a 9.2 square kilometer site. Wagagai aims to become Uganda's largest and most technologically advanced gold mine. Beyond gold, Uganda is richly endowed with other mineral resources, including copper, cobalt, iron ore, marble, lithium, and uranium. Now, let's take on a story regarding Uganda Revenue Authority. Uganda Revenue Authority Commissioner General The Uganda Revenue Authority Commissioner General has called upon all traders whose goods are stuck in customs to personally claim and clear them. He refuted allegations of container hoarding and overcharging in tax assessments. Since April 2025, URA began streamlining groupage cargo clearance to protect traders from exploitation and enhance efficiency, although some traders allege URA in holding containers for prolonged periods. URA insists each importer be responsible for their own bill and goods clearance rather than relying on container leaders. The authority emphasizes transparency. Importers as well are encouraged to present their individual documents at URA offices for immediate processing, reducing the risk of inflated charges and manipulation. Addressing concerns about additional expenses not mandatory, importers can now approach Nakawa headquarters directly, where officials are available to assist through the process, removing unnecessary third-party costs for money to small traders to facilitate taxpayers. URA clarifies its efforts and it's centered on safeguarding trader interests by promoting transparency and offering guidance on payment options and proper documentation. Now, challenges of literacy and complex tax requirements are acknowledged. URA is actively working to simplify processes and provide hands-on support at headquarters, offering consultations and practical guidance for traders unfamiliar with clearance procedures. Traders are urged to visit URA's manager warehousing office at Nakawa, URA headquarters, or use dedicated hotlines and email contacts to promptly claim and clear delayed shipments. The move advances URA's commitment to partnership, fairness, and a trustworthy trading environment. Well, the anti-counterfeit network has urged citizens to purchase medical equipment from authorized sources. This warning came after a suspect was arrested at St. Jude Farm Supply for selling fake agricultural items. It was discovered that liquid soap had been repackaged into multiple company branded bottles and sold as genuine products. Investigations show that liquid soap had been repackaged into branded containers and sold as weed control chemicals. Can you imagine? Now, this is the third time the suspect, identified as Kato, has been arrested for distributing counterfeit agricultural products. The anti-counterfeit network estimated value of the seized fake products at 50 million Uganda shillings. Igumba Trevor from the anti-counterfeit network has urged farmers to exercise caution and purchase products only from genuine authorized sellers. He highlighted the use of the LEEP app, which can be installed on mobile devices and used to report suspected counterfeit products directly to the authorities. All right, now let's have a look at the forex rates as of 15th August 2025. The US dollar opened at 3,550.55 and sold at 3,560.55. And by midday, it had increased to 3,552.64 and selling at 3,562.64, maintaining its, no, actually not maintaining, it was selling higher, of course. Now, it closed in at 3,553.45, an increase there as well, and sold at 3,563.45. The British pound was buying at 4,815.63 and selling at 4,829.18. And the euro was buying at 4,147.76 and selling at 4,159.43. And the Kenyan shilling was buying at 27.50 selling at 27.58. The Tanzanian shilling dropped to 1.35 from 1.41 to 1.35, and selling at the same. And the South African rand was buying at 202.24 and selling at 202.81. Well, that's it for GMU Business today. Up next is the agenda. It's the road to 2026 general elections here in Uganda. And we are trying to look today at the role of the youth in active politics. Be reminded that Uganda is 75% youth populated. And just last week, we had over 114 applicants pick nomination forms as presidential aspirants, many of whom were youths, Gen Zs in their 20s and a bit of those who are in their 30s. And we really want to understand the role of the youth in active politics. You have a contribution, I know. 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should save and be a part of the conversation. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
My friend, I have made some good money today. It is time to relax and enjoy life.
Nice to hear that, Semu. Just give me some money.
Gino, let's go party. All the drinks and the muchomo are on me. I will crown the day with a babe to chill with before I return home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Life is too short.
You guys, you mean you want to take nothing home to your family? My friend, indulging in casual sex has become very risky and dangerous these days. There is HIV and what's still Mpox.
What are you saying, Gino? I use protection, a condom. Don't scare me.
Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease Semu.
What?
Yes, Semu. And from there, you'll spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Gino. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Gino. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information
about Mpox,
call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800-1066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health
with support from UNICEF, WHO,
and its partners.
This August, East Africa becomes the center of African football. CHAN 2024 is here, and it's bigger than ever. 3 proud nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, united by football, passion, and power. From the first whistle to the final roar, 35 thrilling matches, live, only on UBC TV and radio stations. Wherever you are in Uganda, from the city to the village, UBC brings CHAN 2024 to your screen and your radio. August 2nd to August 30th, it's football like never before. 1 tournament, 1 region, 1 heartbeat. CHAN 2024, live on UBC. Feel the game, live the glory.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Kamiso now. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not